Where's the man?
That finally,
that is the heart of man standing against God. Okay, I have seen this. I've heard people, I used to evangelize a lot, and people say, well, if Jesus came right down in front of me and performed miracles, I would believe. No, you wouldn't. They didn't. Why would you? I love these verses. You know, Jesus did these amazing healings and performed many miracles. And what's the next verse? So they conspired how to kill him. What? That's the heart of man. Why would they and why do we as humans conduct ourselves that way? Well, maybe we're corrupt. Maybe we're broken. Maybe our hearts are messed up, right? There's a reason. I don't know what it is, but there's a reason. It's hard-heartedness. Very few people, I want to say men, because that's mainly what the Bible dealt with, very few men are that open-minded to have their heart and mind changed. And frankly, that's the state of mind that we want to be in. We want to be real. We want to be sincere. We want to be open to God. That's where God has to work in our hearts. God can call us to him, but ultimately it's our free will. It's interesting when it says, like, when God hardened Pharaoh's heart, if you think about it, God was able to solidify Pharaoh's heart in a hard way. It's just interesting. God can't change a man's will, but he can codify it apparently, and he did with Pharaoh, which for some reason was necessary. It's also interesting after Moses exited Egypt that as soon as he was gone, then Pharaoh kind of jumped up and said, hey, let's go get this guy, which was something to do with his hardened heart, because what happened next? Ramses II was one of his primary names, because Amenhotep II or whatever. He died in the Red Sea. The Red Sea split. How, I don't know. Doesn't matter, but it's true. And they were buried alive, or they were covered with water. A lot of them, they say over 50,000 troops that day. And then after that, we get to the point where if you use the Hebraic calendar, his son was Amenhotep. I think that was the second. Anyway, Tutankhamun, we know him as King Tut. And he ended up being famous now, going all the way back. The richest, had it all going on. Interesting how King Tut's empire, and by the way, King Tut died very young with his mother from some mysterious disease, better known as poisoning, because King Tut was notarized for removing all of the other gods that had come to pollute the Pharaoh dynasty, and they were so financially blessed. Why do you suppose that is? Like one of the most financially wealthy dynasties ever. Why? Maybe because they had millions of slaves. Egyptians had Hebrew slaves, Jewish slaves. That impacted their faith, their religion, their desire for the afterlife. It affected what they call the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which is a set of scriptures that focuses on many things Judaic, and 42 commandments, which makes sense if you look at them. They basically break things down into more and more detail, but they have our 10 commandments within them So they were highly blessed in that way. And then what I was saying earlier, Flavius Josephus, when he wrote about Jesus, he stated some crazy things. He never stated that he was converted, but he stated that this truly was the Messiah and a few other things. So then people start to say, well, that wasn't authentic. You know what? It was considered authentic as long as you can imagine, and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, we need atheism. We have to negate everything, and it goes back to what I started the show on. Rewriting history, scrubbing it, purging it. Obama started this in a big bad way, and he told us he was going to do it. And he really began to really change history and to start to impose harsh, hardcore socialism on the public. Comments, to businesses, you didn't build that. And this whole thing about IRS and the one percenters, chasing us down. I would consider myself a one percenter. I would hope 1% of something. I'm kidding, but attacking the one percenters, making everyone else hate them. 1% isn't that big of a deal. I mean, it's 1 out of 100, and it means your income's in the top 1 percentile. Well, how do you figure it? Do you count investment income? Do you count net worth accumulated? Really, you have to calculate in net worth and whatever. But he really attacked that in a huge way, and he gained such a stronghold. People loved him, and now they miss him because he did so much damage so silently. We have Benghazi. That was when the CIA was at their annex, 61 CIA agents, because they were transferring the weaponry, the defense weapons, from Libya to Syria. And Syria is where ISIS is from. Obama funded ISIS. And then, you go through all this stuff, folks, it's crazy. He took out Morsi, Hosni Mubarak. Or no, he took out Hosni Mubarak, and they deposed him with Morsi, who was part of the Muslim Brotherhood. And, of course, Bush had already done his magic on Saddam. There's, the false capture of Osama bin Laden. I mean, I will only say in a nice way, I know a guy who was involved, and believe me, he's way ranked well into that realm and then more. And his comment was, it was not the Osama bin Laden. It was most likely his son. Same name, his senior son. And that he had passed away in 2005 from liver damage or whatever, and I believe it. And they had the fake videos and audio. That was all fake. And you can watch videos on how they did it and how obvious it is now. And then what happens after that? Well, you get Biden in office, well, you get Trump. They character assassinate him beyond your wildest dreams. And he won't quit, and he won't die, and he won't go away. And then you get James Comey, Captain Corrupt, FBI agent. All these things happen to try to start the process against Trump. Trump didn't know. I mean, Trump was clean. His son, Donald Jr., even said their phone policies were so specific and so detail-oriented that there was just no doubt. They had no doubt of what exactly was transpiring at any given point in time. So, with all, all that in mind, I guess, wow, I cooked through the time, don't I? Dang. Okay, well, That took a lot longer than I thought again. I get so frustrated. Folks, here's the deal. Time, it is a ticking again on me. We need to comprehend right now. Interest rates are not going down. So they've got Biden, they cannot lower rates because he's pumping money out left and right. And you'll hear things like, well, last year alone, Biden raised the deficit by $3 trillion. And you're like, ooh, he spent $3 trillion. No. The deficit is liquid available cash. It used to be called M3 money. It's money that's in the bank. It's money in stock investments. It's money that is out in cash and coinage, and it's available liquid dough, real money. He didn't spend $3 trillion, folks. They've got us at a point now where our taxation, and I'm not a fan of Trump's last tax deal because he left this big broad swath. It's like if you're under 50 grand a year, you save something. If you're between 50 grand and 250 grand a year, you basically paid maybe just a teeny tiny bit more. 250 to 450, you paid a fair amount more. And then I can't remember the breakups, but once you hit like $650,000 a year, you go back down like a lead weight in the water. It was designed that way on purpose to favor the rich or the wealthy, if you will, or even the one percenters. But, who wants to live that way, hiding in garbage dumpsters and whatever else? We need to be prepared, folks. We need to be prepared, and I'll tell you, cryptocurrency, forget about it. CBDC, that central bank digital currency, forget about it. It's no good. You're forced to use it now. Think how easy